A&Pers. This is Dr. Jones checking in. This is A&P 2, Lecture Test 2, Video 4. 4 already. Okay, Video 4. Write that down. And note set. We are starting at the top of page 12 with all the charts. All the charts. Okay. So, as I record this, the previous 2 videos that I just recorded are still loading to YouTube. So I'm going to set my trusty 20-minute timer because the 20-minute videos take less than 2 hours to upload. So maybe I can actually end at 20 minutes this time. So okay. This is half of the picture that is on your test. So here we have it. The pars distalis, we need a pen. Let's go blue. If I pick up pen color, will that switch us to the pen? Oh, it does. So I don't have to turn the pen on and then pick a pen color. I can just pick a pen color and that picks the pen. Okay. So write these down, but we're going to go through them in great detail here in a second. So we have the thyroid stimulating hormone that we mentioned. It goes to the thyroid gland and makes it make thyroid hormones. The adrenocorticotropic hormone goes to the adrenal cortex, adrenocorticotropic hormone. And we talked about this word tropic. We said a trope was a turning, and that all of the pars distalis hormones are tropic hormones, and that they turn on other glands. So here in this picture, we have the other glands lined up. And you have follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormones. These are the gonadotropins, which means they go to the gonads. So the gonads are ovaries and testes. The gonadotropins both go to both. Lots of arrows. Prolactin causes you to make milk, and growth hormone does all kinds of stuff. It makes the liver make hormones. It does. We'll get into it. Okay, I don't know. I think I touched the little scroll wheel by accident. Okay, so the pars intermedia is this thin slice between the adenohypophysis and the neurohypophysis. It is technically part of the adenohypophysis, the anterior pituitary, and it makes MSH, which is melanocyte stimulating hormone. I got a tickle in my nose. Excuse me. And it goes to melanocytes, and we'll talk about what that does when we get there. Okay. But this picture, along with the ADH and OXT from the post-pit, are on the test. And usually the final 2. So that's my way of saying this is all need to know. Okay, so let's fill in the chart at the top of page 12. The book starts with the pituitary hormone, the target organ, and then goes back and tells you which hypothalamic hormone starts the whole thing. But I like to start with the hypothalamic hormone because that starts the whole thing. So we have here thyroid stimulating hormone, which was thyrotropin, and it's from the pars distalis of the adenohypophysis. So this thyroid stimulating hormone used to be thyrotropin. Now they changed the names of the pituitary hormones. They did not change the names of the hypothalamic hormones, so we still need to know these tropic names. So the TRH is thyrotropin releasing hormone. So the thyrotropin releasing hormone from the hypothalamus causes the pituitary gland to release thyroid stimulating hormone that, of course, as we've said a dozen times, goes to the thyroid gland and makes it make thyroid hormones, both T3 and T4. So high levels of thyroid hormone inhibit, and that's our little symbol for inhibition, TRH, thyrotropin releasing hormone. Next box. Corticotropin releasing hormone, CRH, causes the ant pit, specifically the pars distalis of the adenohypophysis, to release corticotropin, which is now adreno, like the adrenal gland, cortico, like the adrenal cortex, tropic, like it turns on the adrenal cortex, hormone, because it's a hormone. So target organ, I'm shocked. And it makes glucocorticoids and androgens. Add the rest of the details. Androgens. Androgens are what are considered the male sex hormone. The main androgen is testosterone. Okay. So the glucocorticoids are from the zona fasciculata, and the androgens are made by the zona reticularis, and we're going to have to cover that. High levels. Oh, and this target organ is the adrenal cortex except the ellipsis, the zona glomerulosa. The zona glomerulosa has humoral control, not hormonal control. Remember, the humors are the fluids and these are the hormones. So the glucocorticoids and the androgens are under hormonal control, but the zona glomerulosa is not. We'll get there. Next, inhibition. Lots of glucocorticoids inhibits CRH. Next box. Okay, so these are the gonadotropins. So there's one hypothalamic hormone for both gonadotropins. We said FSH and LH were the two gonadotropins. That's follicle stimulating hormone. Plot twist, the follicle stimulating hormone stimulates the follicles of the ovaries to make eggs. It actually will also stimulate the testes to make sperm, which we will write down here in a second. So the FSH and the LH are both controlled by the GnRH, capital G, lowercase n, capital R, capital H. And this is the gonadotropin releasing hormone. And again, we have two gonadotropins that regulate the gonads. As a review, what are gonads? Ovaries and testes. Excellent. Okay. So the FSH used to be phallotropin, and the luteinizing hormone used to be lutropin, although we don't think we need those two. Yeah. Okay, so testes inhibin, ovaries inhibin, and estrogens. The main estrogen is estradiol. And then luteinizing hormone makes the ovaries make progestins and estrogens, and the main progestin is progesterone. And it makes the testes make androgens. Next slide. Okay, hypogonadism is low gonadotropin levels. Okay, I'm going back. So low gonadotropin levels is called hypogonadism. And in kids, it means that they will not sexually mature. And in adults, it means that they will not make gametes. Gametes are the eggs and sperm, the oocytes and sperm. So it says explain the role of FSH and LH in male and female reproductive cycles. So let's talk about follicle stimulating hormone first. Follicle stimulating hormone in women makes eggs. It develops the follicles, which make eggs, the oocytes. And in men, they stimulate the nurse cells, which make sperm, which I just told you 2 minutes too soon. Luteinizing hormone. In women, it induces, in people with ovaries, it induces ovulation and causes the formation of the corpus luteum. The luteinizing hormone forms the corpus luteum, luteinizing, luteum, like that. And then people with testes, luteinizing hormone makes the testes make androgens. The main androgen is testosterone. Okay. FSH secretion is, there we go, inhibited by inhibin. So here's this one, inhibin, which is made by both sets of gonads, ovaries and testes. And GnRH secretion is inhibited by the sex hormones, estrogens, androgens, progestins. Pepper, are you in the room? I don't know if the dog is at the door, like inside the door or outside the door, but the kids are outside. I can see them through the window. They're on the boat, and no, I don't know why the boat is in the front yard. I wasn't involved in that. The kids are in the boat along with two of the neighbor kids. They're all almost 6 feet apart. They were 6 feet apart, but they do all have masks on, and they are outside. And they're climbing on the boat in the trailer and jumping out and jumping around. And my husband is mowing the yard as I record this. So probably the dog is at the door and wants in, because when the kids aren't around, I'm next. So kids are first, of course. Okay, so if you hear barking, that's Pepper the pupper, which I think you met in a previous video. So we're on page 13 now to talk about prolactin. Prolactin makes you lactate. We have 8 minutes. Prolactin makes you lactate, which is the milk. So as we saw in a previous picture, you have both a releasing hormone and an inhibiting hormone. I'm pretty sure that's a hormone now. Prolactin releasing hormone and a prolactin inhibiting hormone. And of course, prolactin, mammotropin, goes to the mammary glands. Target response is mammary gland development and milk production. All right, I'm gonna let the dog in. I'll be right back. And this is what happens when you work from home. Hello. Hello. Okay. Now, are we taking bets on how long she'll sit on my lap? You sit? You sit? Sit? She's looking. Oh, she's sad. Okay. And now she's putting her head under my hands. So I might be, yeah, I think I can pet her in. She's like, you were supposed to be petting me with both hands. Excuse me. Okay. Oh, she's like, oh. Dog tongue. Oh, she laid down. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Okay. So the mammary gland part does not develop until pregnancy. So the breast tissue develops in puberty, but the mammary glands themselves don't develop until pregnancy. So, which I'm supposed to tell you right now. Discuss mammary gland development and milk ejection. So the prolactin, estrogens, progesterone, glucocorticoids, pancreatic, and placental hormones. You get that? In hormones, in pregnancy and the nursing period, cause the mammary gland development. One more time. Mammary gland development in pregnancy and while you're nursing requires prolactin, estrogens, progesterone, glucocorticoids, pancreatic hormones, and placental hormones. Placental hormones are the hormones from the placenta itself. In milk ejection, prolactin does milk production. So prolactin makes you make milk. The milk ejection for the milk to leave your body is oxytocin. That's the cuddle hormone, and that's made in the hypothalamus and released by the neurohypophysis, the posterior pituitary gland. So they work together. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? Yes, it is. Okay, and the inhibition, high levels of prolactin inhibiting hormone inhibit prolactin release, I for inhibit, while high levels of prolactin releasing hormone, that's an H now, not an F, stimulate prolactin release. It's releasing hormone, it makes you release more hormone. And high levels of PRL stimulate the secretion of, stimulate is red, stimulate secretion of PIH, and high levels of PRL inhibit PRH. So at the same time, when there's too much chocolate, Lucille Ball is turning off the go button, here, turning off the go button, and turning on the off button. I know, it's like quadruple negatives, but that's how it works. It is what it is. Ooh, growth hormone. Okay, so growth hormone, bottom of page 13. Are we still on the timer? Yeah, we got like 4 minutes left. We'll finish this page. Wait, what's on the next page? Yeah, we might do that one too. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so we are still in the pars distalis, but not for long. Yep, next page is the pars intermedia hormone, the 1 pars intermedia hormones. This is the last of the pars distalis hormones. And this is growth hormone. And everything here starts with somata, and it's really annoying. So growth hormone is pituitary hormones. And as we know, last question, all of the anterior pituitary hormones are tropic hormones. So of all these somato whatever hormones, the somatotropin is the growth hormone because it's from the pituitary gland. Give that a second to sink in. So we have 2 hypothalamic hormones here. We have growth hormone inhibiting hormone, somatostatin, and growth hormone releasing hormone, somatocrinin. Okay, lots of target organs here. First, the liver makes somatomedins. So this is the one that'll be on our chart. And somatomedins are IGF, which is insulin-like growth factor. So the growth hormone makes the liver make hormones that cause growth. No surprise there. They also go to the epithelia and the connective tissue and cause stem cell division and differentiation. Stem cell division and differentiation means tissue growth. So the growth hormone at epithelium and CT cause tissue growth. At adipose, it has a glucose-sparing effect, which we will talk about below the box, and it all goes to the liver, yet liver, again, has a diabetogenic effect, and we'll talk about that below the box. So, describe the effects of the somatomedins, that's this one, on the target cells, stimulates tissue growth and protein synthesis. So, growth from the growth hormone. Glucose-sparing effect, so we're at the adipose. This causes the breakdown and release of the fatty acids, and then the cells use those fatty acids to make ATP instead of the blood glucose. So that's why it's a glucose-sparing effect. Now you've probably heard, have we said? Usually we talk about using glucose to make ATP, but you can also use fats, proteins to make ATP. The brain can only use glucose, so that's part of why you have this glucose-sparing effect of breaking down and releasing the fatty acids so that the blood sugars in the bloodstream go to the brain where it's most important. And the liver has a diabetogenic effect, which is a breakdown and release of stored glucose from the glycogen. And we will talk about glycogen and glucose and all of that when we do test 5 biochem. Felt like a threat, right? And so, like diabetes, this raises the blood sugar levels. So that's why it's called a diabetogenic. Genic is like Genesis, which is the beginning, to generate. And high levels of somatomedins stimulate the inhibition, oh, there's our timer. Stimulate GHIH, so you've got lots of it, and we don't need more. That got messy. So you turn on the off button. The GHIH, IHs are all off buttons. So you turn on the off button because you already have plenty and you've got chocolate in your hat. And you also inhibit the on button. All the RHs are releasing hormones, which are on buttons. So you turn off the on button because you can't eat any more chocolate. And how many times in your life have you ever said that? When my kids, at Halloween, I would tell them that if they ate too much candy, they would get a tummy ache, and then encourage them to regulate how much sugar they got so that they didn't get a tummy ache, but also because I wasn't going to buy them a bunch of more sugar for a while because we had so much Halloween candy, both, left over what we bought and what they'd gotten from their treats. And so they tended to, decide on a number of candies a day and mostly stuck to it. But every now and then my daughter, who's now 11, will decide to just chow down and eat all of the candy. And then tell me about it later and be like, my tummy really hurt. And I'm like, huh. That's how you learn. Actions have consequences. And that's the end of that page. So that's where we plan to end, and the timer went off, so we are golden. So this has been A&P 2, lecture test 2, video 4. We do page 12 through page 14, through 14. No, we did through 13, 12 and 13, and we're starting page 14 for video 5. Noteset page. Literally, if I don't write it down while I'm thinking about it, I won't remember it again later. I'm bright, but I'm not remembered again later if I don't write it down bright. So there we have it. This has been video 4, Noteset pages 12 and 13, where we talked about the pars distalis hormones. Next, when we come back, we will talk about the pars intermedia hormone. Dun, dun, dun. And this has been Anatomy and Physiology with Dr. Jones, A&P 2. I already did that whole spiel. Okay, well, in that case, thank you as always for tuning in. Move dog, I need the keyboard. Okay, say goodbye. Bye-bye. Pepper the Pupper is not interested. Kids are outside, what is there to do? Okay, actually, I need both hands to command control escape. Okay, y'all have a good one. Please tell me that worked. Let's do it again. Jiminy Christmas, this better have recorded.